All right, breaking news out of the NFL this morning. According to Adam Schefter, the Cowboys have fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Dallas now will be going on to their fourth different defensive coordinator in 4 seasons. Jeff Saturday joining us here at the desk right now. But Stephen A., I'll start with you. Your reaction to this firing?
No surprise, deservedly so. I certainly don't want to be saying that as holidays are over. So I don't have to be in that nice, that generous kind of mood. But in the same breath, I don't want to celebrate a human being's firing. Right. I don't want to do that. I will say, however, it was warranted. You're giving up over 30 points a game, one of the worst defenses in all of the National Football League. And obviously, when you look at how high-powered their offense was, if you did a better job, then guess what? You know, this team might have had a shot. Worst in points allowed, 30.1, pass yards per game, etc. Now, what I will say, however, is that it didn't help that you lost Micah Parsons before the season started. It didn't help that Jerry Jones waited right until the trading deadline, you know, to get Williams and what have you, and Logan Wilson and these guys. Jerry Jones did not help the situation, which he has admitted. Right. So the fact that he admitted that and Eberflus is still gone seems a bit shaky, but in the end, it was apparent very, very early that this man did not need to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. So we can't say it was the wrong decision. What we're saying is the wrong decision was to hire him in the first place, because it was clearly obvious after the situation in Chicago. At the very least, the man needed a year off.
He was a good defensive coordinator for them a couple years back.
Yeah,
and he's been a good coach in this league. That, you know,
head coach?
No.
Okay.
No. Good defensive coach. If you had Vic Fangio or you had Bill Belichick as a defensive coordinator of the Cowboys this year, you're still a wild card team. The defensive talent was so terrible. So to me, not a scapegoat per se, but like, doesn't move the needle for me news-wise. Yes, they had the worst defense in the league. Usually you lose your job on that. That's the business.
Yeah. And I think when you heard Jerry Jones, even a couple of weeks ago, because Shadi kind of gave him a, hey, I've been in his place. I've been the coordinator that's been getting bashed on, right? He's kind of lived through these tough pains. And they got a little better, you know, right at the trade deadline, and it kind of went back in the tank. But when Jerry Jones said, hey, you know, all these quarterbacks seem to only play well when they play us. And nail was in the coffin already. Like, you just pack, guaranteed he had already packed stuff up. Like, there's no surprise. When the owner of the team, who's also the general manager, and by the way, you kind of flipped it back and was like, well, I didn't have all the players I expected to have. That's going back at the owner and GM. That relationship wasn't going to continue to work. So I don't think any surprise. You don't ever want to see guys get fired. It's everybody in this business gets fired. Players get fired. Coaches get fired. It sucks as part of the business, and Eberflus will find another gig and be back at it.
The importance, but see, at some point in time, and I agree with you, I'm not disagreeing, but at some point in time, it can't be about that. It has to be about, it can't be about they'll get another job. Nah, man, you got to treat this like this is your last opportunity. And not enough people. Sometimes it's players, but sometimes it's coaches, and we never talk about that. We never talk about how some coaches get lax, some coaches get comfortable, some coaches do the same old, and don't go that extra mile to exhaust every measure. When we rave about some of the great coaches, whether it's Belichick in the pros, the Parcells of the world, the Bill Walshes of the world back in the day and stuff like that, or with colleges with the Sabins, now Kirby Smarts, Signetti and these guys, and you see what they're doing. You don't see ordinary. And we're not just talking about results. We're seeing habits. We're seeing guys that are all in. It's like, yo, what are we doing here? We heard Lane Kiffin tell a story about how they won a national championship, and the next day he comes in the office, and Nick Saban's like, we behind. Because we've been preoccupied with these players. We behind recruiting. Let's make sure we're doing X, Y, and Z. I gave a speech at Alabama that Paul Feinbaum would tell you about at Nick Saban. When Nick Saban was there, Nick Saban, you know, he's sitting in the office talking with me privately for an hour, and he's talking about First Take. And he's talking about this business, and he's talking about everything. He said, where you go from here? Up. You keep going. You don't stop. There's no such thing as complacency. Complacency, for the most part, we're always talking about players. There are coaches that get comfortable with the same old that they always did, which is why they ain't great. And we don't talk enough about that. If it were a player, we'd do it. You got to make sure we mention it with them.
Yeah, that defense has been struggling all season long, so the writing was definitely on the wall.
Right.
All right, let's go to the Steelers in the AFC North, where receiver DK Metcalf will be back on the field for Pittsburgh Monday night for that wild card matchup against the Texans after serving a 2-game suspension for getting into an altercation with a fan in the Steelers' Week 16 win over the Lions. Steelers are looking for their first postseason win since the 2016 season, and they'll need their star receiver to do it. Leading up to Metcalf's suspension, the Steelers' offense had been rolling, ranking in the top 10 in points per game, yards per game, and passing yards per game. However, in the final 2 weeks without Metcalf, those numbers decreased without Aaron Rodgers' #1 target on the field. So, Jeff Saturday, I'll start with you. Jeff, does DK Metcalf need to ball out against the Texans in this wild card game?
Absolutely. Listen, I know Aaron Rodgers loves throwing to running backs, right? And Gainwell and Warren have done over 100 catches between them. All of that stuff is good. DK Metcalf stretching the defense and being the deep threat they need, especially against a defense like Houston, where you know you're going to get pressure. They know there's going to be times where Aaron wants to block it up and chuck that thing deep, and he's going to have to go up and make a play, right? You need, when it gets to be playoff time, it's players over plays. And there are going to be moments in the game where Aaron needs to trust that throw and go for DK. And now you put it, you add the element of being suspended for 2 games and really lamenting, the decision you made. But having this opportunity against the defense. And the one thing about Aaron, and I will say this because everybody's talking about the Texans matchup, against a very average offensive line when it comes to, and really against good offensive lines, the Texans defensive front four can get after you. Aaron Rodgers understands timing of offensive plays and when the ball has to come out. And so he wants to hold it, but he also understands when people blitz or they give him lanes and gets. That's what DK can do extremely well. Catch the ball on the move and go make a 10-yard gain, a 50-yard gain, or go make a 20-yard gain, a touchdown. Those are the things that are going to have to happen for them to upset the Texans, in my opinion.
I agree with you from an X's and O's standpoint. He's going to play a big role. To me, and I know this might sound blasphemous to Steelers fans, Stephen A., you included, last week was the important one for all these guys. And I know, hear me out here. Hear me out. If they lose that game, and they easily could have with a 44-yard chippy field goal that just went their way, we're talking about Tomlin's future today. We're talking about DK Metcalf and whether or not that was one of the most boneheaded decisions in the world to go and approach that fan. And did he cost his team their entire season? We're talking about Aaron Rodgers last game. We're talking about you let George Pickens walk out the building for a third-round pick. We're questioning everyone from Omar Khan, the GM, to the quarterback Aaron Rodgers not being able to win a home game because he lost a home game against the Detroit Lions in 2022 in a game that they should to win to go into the playoffs.
That's right.
We are questioning every single. We're probably starting off the show talking Steelers yesterday in the worst way possible, but they won. Now, all right, if DK Metcalf plays well, doesn't play well, we're not losing sleep on the whole situation, and we're not doing a complete autopsy on exactly what's wrong with the Steelers as an organization from top to bottom. If they lose in the wild card round to the Texans have a really good defense. They made it to the wild card. They won the division. They had a home playoff game. All right, we could say they should have gone further, but did we really think so? To me, DK Metcalf, does he have to ball out? Sure, it would be nice for him to play well. I don't think it's the life and death nature of last week where if they had lost to the Ravens, DK Metcalf, what did you do in Detroit?
See, like the Steelers fans, they don't care about being 9. They don't. 10 and 7. They don't care. They want playoff wins. It's been a long time, and I'm talking to a Steelers fan, so I know you feel this. But I think it actually put a little more on them. Like, this is a big deal. Like, them winning a playoff game matters. You don't bring Aaron Rodgers in to make the playoffs. And if you're one and done, especially because the way – and listen, make no apologies for winning the NFL. And but – it was fluky. Like, however I won a lot of fluky games. I get it. Like, I'm not.
You'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take them every day and every day twice on Sunday. But man, like, this team to me is going to be defined on playoff and playoff only. Everybody's tired of being just okay.
That's where I was going.
Yeah,
you're completely wrong.
Hear me out.
You're completely wrong. Not because of what you're saying. The details of what you're saying are on point. I'm saying it ain't go away because they won last week. First of all, we know your ass should have lost.
Yeah.
Because that missed field goal by Luke. I mean, that you're not supposed to win that game. And Boswell missing the extra point. Are you kidding me? I mean, you got to be kidding me, all right? And for Aaron Rodgers to ball out the way that he did, that pass to Thielen, that pass to Frymouth, that's what we want to see. See, all of this dipping and dunking, all right? Quick screenplay. I'm tired of all of that. Why? Because of the inordinate amount of times they do it. Because you're saying we don't have the courage, we don't have the confidence that we can go downfield. So to see Frymouth downfield, to see Thielen downfield, okay? To see you hit on Austin down the field, to see that. We want to see that. That's what we want to see from Aaron Rodgers. That's what we want to see from a passing game, particularly when you let go of George Pickens. That's a third-round pick, okay? I'm looking at DK Metcalf. Let's keep it a buck. And I love him. I love him as a person, and I love him as a receiver. Only thing that I would say to the brother is this. DK Metcalf, do you understand what forget me, I ain't saying nothing, man. I got nothing but love for you. They do too. Do you understand how you would have felt if the Steelers season was over because you were not on that field? Could you imagine what his offseason? It'd have killed him. It'd have killed him. It'd have been the worst possible thing. The fan wanted to provoke that kind of reaction, bro.
Yeah.
It's set up for you to do that. That's what hecklers are hoping you will do.
That's right.
Don't give it to them, okay? Trust me, I know a thing or two about hecklers. Okay, I know a thing or two about hecklers, okay? Trust me, all right? What I'm saying to you is that don't fall for that. On the field, do you know that DK Metcalf only had 200-yard receiving games this year?
Yeah.
Out of the 15 he played. Let me give you some of the games, some of the other games in terms of the numbers. 42 yards receiving, 55 yards receiving, 32, 22, 49, 35. One game against Indianapolis, he had 6 yards.
Yeah.
6 yards. I'm looking at it right here. The numbers are right here. 6 yards. 55, 50, 32, 20. I gave you, there's 12 games here.
Yeah.
These numbers are nothing. And so when you think about it, you got a playoff game.
Yep.
Now let me go there.
And that's why they brought you in.
Let me remind you. I don't believe they should have gave up Pickens once they got him. I thought they should have kept Pickens with them. That's me personally. But here's the deal. Okay, so you ain't won a playoff game since 2016. And we talk about, you know how all of us feel about Mike Tomlin, okay? We revere the man, but you ain't won a playoff game since 2016. You're 0-6 in that span.
Yeah.
Do you know they've been outscored 73-0 in the first quarter of those games?
Yes.
73-0
in
the first quarter of those playoff games.
Yeah.
And each one of those playoff games, they've been down by at least 21 points.
That's insane.
Hey, and one of those was to Cleveland.
Yes. So what I'm saying to you is that Steeler fans know this.
Right.
All of this noise you talking about, that win in Baltimore, it delayed everything
It subsides
you said
it for a
week.
second. Okay.
Yeah,
A week.
All right.
A week.
To me.